Recording. Welcome, everyone. This is Brother Doug with the Awakened by Yahuwah Fellowship Group. We are on our weekly Shabbat. We are going to be continuing the book of Enoch, aka Enoch, and we are starting chapter 69. If you are not familiar with this book and you would like to check out our previous recordings to catch up on where we are, you can find them on my YouTube channel, DOUGLAS space BONINSEGNA. That is my name of my YouTube channel that I have our studies on. You can find all of our studies, including the studies for Isaiah, Revelations. We do different books, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now I got that out of the way. All right, so we are about to start Enoch chapter 69 here. And here we go. Enoch chapter 69. And after this judgment they shall terrify and make them to tremble, because they have shown this to those who dwell on the earth, and see the names of those Malachim, and these are their names. The first of them is Samyaza, the second Artakifa, and the third Armen. Wow, that's really close to Amen. That's weird. The fourth, Kokabal. The fifth, Tura'al. The sixth, Rum Ya'al. The seventh, Dan'al. Has the same name as Daniel. The eighth, Naka'al. The ninth, Baraka'al. The 10th, Azazal. The 11th, Armaros. The 12th, Batara'al. The 13th, Usas Ya'al. The 14th, Hanana'al. The 15th, Tura'al. And the 16th, Sim'apasi'al. The 17th, Yetra'al. The 18th, Tuma'al. The 19th, Suri'al. The 20th, Rama'al. The 21st, Azazal. And these are the chiefs of their Malachim, and their names, and their chief ones, over hundreds and over 50s and over 10s. The name of the first, Yakon, that is the one who led astray the sons of Elohim and brought them down to the earth and led them astray through the daughters of men. So I guess this guy most likely was possessed by Satan, in my estimation. And the second was named Azbaal. Oh, that's weird. He imparted to the set-apart sons of Elohim evil counsel and led them astray so that they defiled their bodies with the daughters of men. And the third was named Gadra'al. It is he who showed the children of men all the smitings of death, and he led astray Hawa. Whoa, okay, that's weird. Alrighty then. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that after this chapter. And showed the shield and the coat of mail and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. And from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day and for eternity. And the fourth was named Pananual. He taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet, and he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom. And he instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper, and thereby many transgressed from everlasting to everlasting and until this day. For men were not created for such a purpose, to give confirmation to their good belief with pen and ink. For men were created exactly like the Malachim, to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys all matters, could not have taken hold of them. But through this their knowledge they are perishing, and through this power it is consuming me. and the fifth was named Kazdaya. Kind of like the name for the Chaldeans, the Kasdim. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smiting of spirits and demons, and the smiting of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away, and the bites of the serpent, and the smiting which befalls through the noontide heat, the son of the serpent, named Taba'eth. That's interesting. The son of the serpent. Okay. All right. That's something else we're going to have to talk about, what that possibly could mean. And this is the task of Hazbaal, the chief of the oath, which he showed to the set apart ones when he dwelt high above in esteem, and its name is Bika. This one requested Michael, to show him the hidden name, that he might pronounce it in the oath. So even the fallen Malachim wanted to call upon Yahuwah's name, so that those might quake before that name and oath, who revealed all that was in the secret to children of men. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed this oath, Aka'al, in the hand of Mika'al. And these are the secrets of this oath. They are strong through his oath, and the heavens was suspended before the world was created and forever. And through it the earth was founded upon the water. And from the secret recesses of the mountains come pleasant waters from the creation of the world and unto forever. And through that oath the sea was created, and as its foundation he appointed for it the sand against the time of anger, and it dare not pass beyond it from the creation of the world unto forever. And through that oath are the depths made firm and endure and do not move from their place from everlasting to everlasting. And through that oath the sun and the moon complete their course and deviate not from their ordinance from everlasting to everlasting. And through that oath the stars complete their course, and he calls them by their names. And they answer him from everlasting to everlasting. And in the same way the spirits of the water and of the winds and of all breezes in their paths from all the quarters of the winds, and there are preserved the voices of the thunder and of the light of the lightnings, and there are preserved the chambers of the hail and the chambers of the hoarfrost, and the chambers of the mist, and the chambers of the rain and the dew. And all these believe and give thanks before Yahuwah of hosts, and esteem him with all their power. So stars can't be what they claim they are and what school teaches us stars are, because stars actually speak. According to verse 24 here, it says that they give thanks before Yahuwah of hosts and esteem him with all their power, and their food is in every act of thanksgiving. They thank and esteem and exalt the name of Yahuwah of heaven's armies forever and ever. And this oath is mighty over them, and through it they are preserved, and their paths are preserved, and their course is not destroyed. And there was great joy amongst them, and they barak and esteem and exalted, because the name of the son of Adam had been revealed unto them. Wow. And he sat on the throne of his esteem, and the sum of judgment was given unto the son of Adam, and he caused the transgressors to pass away and be destroyed from off the face of the earth, and those who have led the world astray. Sounds like the kings of the earth. With chains shall they be bound, and in their assemblage place of destruction shall they be imprisoned. All their works vanish from the face of the earth, and from here on there shall be none corruptible, for the Son of Adam has appeared, and has seated himself on the throne of his esteem, and all evil shall pass away before his face, and the word of the Son of Adam shall go forth and be strong before Yahuwah of heaven's armies. This is the third parable of Enoch. That is the end of chapter 69. So, a lot of stuff in that. What I kind of find a little weird is that it's saying that another Malach deceived Eve, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. That's a little weird to me. Supposedly, Satan, according to this chapter, Satan wasn't the one that verbatim deceived her. So that's a little weird.
Can you read that verse again? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it gives her name as Hawa, so let me just find the word Hawa up here. It's pretty early, actually.
Yeah,
It's like verse 14, I believe, or 13, where it starts talking about the striking of the womb, abortion. And then it says the son of the serpent named Taba'at. And let's see, or maybe it's before that. Let's see. The one who deceived Eve.
where does it mention Noah's name?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. I know it's right here, verse 6. And the third was named Gadra'al. It is he who showed the children of men all the smitings of death, and he led astray Hawa. So Gadra'al, supposedly, whoever he is supposedly one of the watchers that deceived Eve, which doesn't make sense to me chronologically. I don't know, that doesn't make sense. The watchers didn't transgress until way after the garden. That doesn't make sense. And I heard this is where people take that one verse and say that Satan wasn't the serpent in the garden. And they'll say that this other guy was the one that spoke to Adam and Hawa, which I don't know. I need more confirmation than that one verse. I don't know. That seems a little.
Let us take Noah and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men.
Yeah.
Now, what's this wicked thing called?
Gadra'al. Yeah, Gadra'al. I think it's how it's spelled.
Gadra'al. Okay. God for short.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to look into that more, whether there's a second witness for that, or that being true that Satan wasn't the one that deceived her. I don't know. I would have to look for a little bit more evidence. As far as I can tell, even in the Strong's Concordance, when you look up the serpent, it refers to Satan. So I would find that very strange if that's not Satan in the garden tempting her. That
God is the one who deceived Noah.
yeah.
I heard a sermon on that by what was that guy's name? I can't think of it right now.
I know a lot of people believe
Alan
that.
Horvath. Have you heard any of Alan Horvath's stuff?
Heard of his name. I've never heard of like his theology or his doctrines or anything. No, I never actually like listened.
I'm pretty sure it was him who gave the message about Gadra'al was the one who deceived Noah. And he references this scripture, this word.
I'm not saying that it's not impossible because, Satan had a lot of followers. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's a little weird because then there's like a discrepancy between Enoch and what Genesis is saying.
Remember that Satan is only a title.
Yeah, that's true.
It means the adversary.
Mm,
And
that's true.
the one that you're referring to is Hillel.
Yeah, that's I was always under the assumption that that word, this serpent, because of what Revelation says about, that serpent of old, I always assumed that the serpent in the garden was definitely Satan, the Hasatan, the adversary, Halel.
Well, there are many Hashatans, and it's listing all these Hashatans in this book
Like I want to
by
see
name.
I want to see if I can possibly find that word in the Strong's Concordance and see if it actually refers to him verbatim, to Halel verbatim. Let me see here. Go to-
I tend to believe that the one who deceived Hawa was named Gadrael, because that's what it says right here. He led astray Hawa
It's
and
just
showed weapons of death to the sons of men. That was that Hashatan's name. Because
or
just
or maybe
remember,
Halel had another name. I mean, that's another possibility. Because
possibly, but I mean, these are the names given for the most evil and deceptive of the Hakim who sinned. That these are their names. So I mean, this was given to Enoch, and I'm not going to
because
dispute it.
yeah, I know, I understand, but it seems like the canon is saying something else. It seems like there's a contradiction there because if if the word that's used for the serpent is referring to someone specifically, and if what I think is true that it's referring to Halel like verbatim, then you have two different stories, and you have one referring to one person and Enoch referring to another fallen messenger, which is a little weird. That's the only thing that's confusing me right now is the fact that it's referring to I don't know, it's referring to two different people.
Well, they're not exactly people. They're beings, Malachim, that went astray.
See here, Genesis 3:1. If I look that up in Blue Letter Bible real quick, I want to see what that word is in the Hebrew. I'm just curious. Because if it's general, then yeah, I can definitely see how just by tradition we might have thought that it was Halo. I just want to test it and see if that's true. Because I
And
know,
it tells you that the name, the one who led astray all the sons of Yahuwah, which is, these are the Malachim, is Yachon. Why? Yachon or Yakun. It's hard to pronounce the names because they have given them the Babylonian
yeah,
the Babylonian vowel points is what they've done, and added the J, which makes it very difficult.
yeah. So I mean, I I definitely think there's a case then that through tradition we might have learned another lie that it was literally the Hallel in the garden, and I'm just looking at the Hebrew right now here. Nakash is general, it's generic.
Yeah, it
It can
is.
mean, and it actually means a divining one, shining one. That means it
It
could be,
doesn't mean a snake.
yeah, it could be any malachim. According to the definition of the Hebrew word, it could be any shining one, any malachim, any divining one, any seducer. So it's
And
very very general, and
right here it gives his name,
yeah, that's something
Gabriel.
that's something I have to take into consideration. Then yeah, I guess I do believe Enoch there, because even in Genesis, it's not telling you that it's Hallel. So yeah, I would definitely have to I would have to admit that we just assumed that it was Hallel in the garden because of what church taught us, and so oh, that's interesting. I wonder if these guys have any connection to Halo, because it seems like these other guys actually, one of the guys that was mentioned in this chapter got the Watchers to do what they did. So my
Well, yeah, the one who led them astray is the one whose name I was trying to pronounce, Yakun.
hmm, I wonder if these guys are part of the 1/3. I wonder if these guys are part of the third that you know that that rebelled, and that pretty much somehow were able to convince the Watchers to do what they did. They were probably part of the 1/3 of the stars that chose to choose Hallel's side, and because it's kind of weird that there's another group of Malachim here that are convincing the Watchers to do what they decide to do. I don't know. That's interesting to me. What that could mean.
Um, it's interesting, he lists 21, and then he starts listing more,
Mm-hmm.
and saying these are the chiefs of the Malachim and their names, and their chief ones over hundreds and fifties and tens. In other words, the chiefs over the first ones he mentioned are Yaakov and Gadrael and the rest of them.
What I find interesting too is that Gadra'al has the prefix of Gad, which is
Mm-hmm.
actually the deity of fortune. So I kind of find
And
that
I
interesting.
really have to question, why would Yaakov name one of his 12 sons God?
Yeah. And
But
these
he did.
guys, I don't think these guys are good Malachim. They're not.
No, they're not.
And my assumption is that these guys didn't keep their names that Yahuwah gave them after their fall. They started giving themselves their own names to deify themselves, and that's where we get the names of the planets from. I believe that's where we get Mars from, Saturn. Like that's where we get all those names from, because if we know that stars aren't gas planets, and we know that all these names of the planets actually come from Greek mythology and actually come from the Roman religions, then we know for a fact that there were stars that were named them. And it's possible the Watchers started that fake religion. They started naming themselves, their own names, and getting rid of the names Yahuwah gave them. Like all these guys have the name Elohim in their name. So they actually were supposed to be named either after Yah or Al, and they probably got rid of those names once they rebelled. I don't know. That's just my assumption. That's just
Could be because these are the names that evidently Yahweh gave them when they were obedient sons, and these names are called out. So these are the original names that they went by, and then if they changed their names later, then that was part of their rebellion too.
yeah. I mean, even Azazel has Elohim in his name, and he's one of the chief evil ones. He's the one that I forget what he did. I think he's the one that introduced the turning metal into gold. What is that called? Alchemy. I think
Alchemy,
he
yeah.
was the one that introduced that to mankind. Azazel was the chief of the Watchers, but these guys are even above them. They're like the ones that basically seduced the Watchers to do what they did, according to one of the verses we just read. And one of the chief guys, tells them to defile themselves with women. So there's obviously some type of seducing going around, like literally trying to get them to do what they knew was wrong. And I think ultimately we know who's like behind all this. Obviously, Halel was not too far behind these guys. These guys all of a sudden just had an inclination to do that.
Well, it also says that Son of Man appeared and has seated himself on the throne of his esteem, and all this evil will pass away before his face. That's how it ends.
Yeah, it pretty much says that there will be no more evil, no more wickedness.
That's right.
And what's interesting too is that it's hinting that writing with ink it was not supposed to be. We were never meant to write. We were never meant to write down stuff that supposedly from the art of like writing with pens and writing with ink, it corrupted us supposedly.
I wonder about that because there's some writings that is good. I mean, the word, this is,
Yeah. I
oh,
get what it could be hinting to is that we as human beings are flawed, and that like after the fall of man, possibly that we should have been given the certain knowledge from the heavens that the Watchers did, because we corrupted the art of writing, and we started maybe it's the fact that we're fallible. The especially what's happened to Yahuwah's word, where man has added and taken away, because man is flesh. Mankind is always fighting with sin, and it's possible that in our fallen state we were not supposed to know how to write. I don't know. That's the only way I can make sense of what that's saying there, is that certain stuff like that was not supposed to be revealed to us in our fallen state.
okay, let's read what it says about it. For this guy, Panamue, taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet, and he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom, and he instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper, and thereby many sinned from eternity to eternity and until this day. For men were not created for such a purpose, to give confirmation to their good faith with pen and ink. Now, let's try to figure out what this is trying to say to us.
Maybe we're supposed to just have blind faith. blind belief, not need to confirm it, you know, with,
And here I am with pen and ink and paper.
well, yeah. I mean, we're at this point though, it's already been done. At this point, we've been given, you know, the the knowledge to know how to write on a piece of paper. So I think at this point, there's nothing we can do about it. But I guess what that's trying to say is that we're supposed to have blind trust, blind belief. Why we were not
Okay.
we were not supposed to, have to confirm our belief by, something physical like that. I don't know. That's
For men were created exactly like the Malachim, to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys everything, could not have taken hold of them. But through this, their knowledge, they are perishing, and through this power, it is consuming me. What or is he talking about?
I'm guessing he's talking
Yeah.
about that through this we have found out some things that have corrupted us, and that maybe through finding out how to write with ink and stuff like that, they found out other knowledge that they weren't supposed to know. And I don't know, it's very confusing what he's saying.
It is confusing. And Sally, Dode, Dennis, y'all can jump in at any point.
No, I think
Um,
they're enjoying us, like, not knowing what's going on with this verse.
it would be nice to have another person's opinion because it's
Yeah,
confusing to me.
definitely.
Um,
I've read this verse a bunch of times in Enoch, and I could never make sense of it. It it sounds like writing with a pen's a bad thing, but then why is scripture written down? Yahuwah tells, people to write stuff down. So it's like that's
yes, he does.
that's why I say I ain't gonna
So
I'm
only certain things that were taught by these wicked, sinning Malachim.
Oh, I know what it possibly could be. In the book of Jubilees, it talks about that Cain or Nimrod knew of these tablets that were written down by Thoth or whatever the fallen Moloch's name was, and they found out, like, certain tablets that had certain writings down of secret knowledge. And maybe that's what Enoch's referring to, is that through the knowledge of knowing how to write with ink, men started doing, like, secret practices. They started learning how to write certain knowledge down, and possibly that caused them to sin. I don't know. I'm throwing something out there that might be a possibility, because the problem with knowledge is, once you start knowing stuff, you it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like what is that thing called? Pandora's box. It's kind of like they started opening all this stuff up to mankind until the point where it was just flowing with secret stuff that we weren't supposed to know. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden now you have secret writings of, like, the Egyptians have what it's called the secret writings of Thoth, which many people connect that Thoth is Azazel, and it's the same person. And and some people even actually connect this guy to Hallel. And a lot, it's very Gnostic and occultic. And so maybe Enoch's talking about that through the knowledge of knowing how to write and stuff, they started writing down stuff on tablets of occult stuff, and secret stuff that weren't supposed to be revealed to them. and
Yeah.
and that increased sin. And that's possible, because I don't think writing of itself could be evil, because
Writing is not of itself evil. I think it's because they were taught to do this, then they could do evil with it. Because we can have evil and we can have good. Tob Ra on all things. So writing with ink and paper, we write songs with ink and paper. We write many Tob things, and others write many that are Ra.
Wow. And just thinking about the only thing that confused me about the other point we made about the guy Gadra'al and not Hillel being the one to deceive her is because Ezekiel 28 verbatimly says, I put you in the garden of, you were in the garden of Elohim. And Ezekiel 28 is verbatimly talking to Hillel. And it's weird that if he's not the one that deceived Eve, why is he in the garden? If it says you were the covering cherubim, and obviously it's talking through the king of Tyre to Hillel, and it's saying that he sinned and he was in the garden. So it's like then how is that possible that unless Hillel wasn't the only one in the garden, unless this other guy deceived Eve and Hillel rebelled after him. That's the only way I can make sense of what Enoch is saying with Gadriel being the one that deceived Eve in Genesis.
I don't know, and I don't think we can know until Yahweh makes it.
I mean,
he's going to reveal some things to us. I know that Yahusha says, now there are many things you ask me. You have many questions right now. But in the kingdom, you will ask me nothing. And you know why? Because we will know what he knows. Right now, we see through a glass darkly. We don't know what he knows. But we will.
It's possible, though, that could actually fit and not contradict the canon, because I was just thinking about something. After they leave the garden, it says that Yahuwah placed cherubim, like plural, to guard the tree of life. So it wasn't just Hillel guarding the tree of life. And so there's a possibility that Hillel didn't transgress until after that event. And it's possible that's why he doesn't fall out. In Revelations, he doesn't fall out until the time of Yahusha being born on earth, because it's possible that he wasn't the one deceiving her in the garden. So actually, that kind of makes sense now that I think about it. It kind of makes a little bit more sense, because I don't know. That's just a thought that came to my head.
Well, let's go on. Let's move right along. And Sally, do you or Daoud have any comments to make? Or Dennis? Anybody?
I didn't have a specific comment. I just think it's very interesting. Except I'm starting to doze a little bit in between. Which chapter was that?
That was 69.
Okay, just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who wants to take over, feel free. So.
Yeah, I'm getting a little chilly too. We could bring that heater that's in the ballroom in here if you want to.
You need something too, because what's going on at 11:30.
Oh, before we start the next chapter, I did want to mention that it's interesting that this is where we get the origin of abortions. I did want to touch on that a little bit. And
Oh, yes.
this is where, obviously the kings of the earth have this secret knowledge. They started doing this, even in our day.
Lighting of the embryo.
They found out how to strike embryos, and so that's how they found out how to do abortions, and so that's what they're doing in modern day. They're striking the embryos, and technically it's basically
Hashtaya.
it's like modern day child sacrifice, pretty much. That's probably the point of why they were taught this. So
The smiting of the embryo in the womb, that it might pass away. And the smitings of the soul, bites of the serpent.
yeah, that I don't get. Bites of the serpent. I don't get what that's referring to. Whether that's talking about poison from an actual serpent, I don't know what that's talking about. That's very weird. And then it talks about in the chapter "son of the serpent," which I don't know what that's referring to. So that's a little weird. So that was one verse I didn't know how to touch on it, because it says in one verse the son of the serpent, and then it like leaves it. And his name is Taba'at, which is a weird name.
His name is what?
Taba'at, Tabaat, Taba'at.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Son of the serpent. Like,
Son of the serpent.
I wonder who that's referring to, whether that's referring to Halel or, like, which would be really weird if he actually has, like, a physical son that's a Malik. That's a little weird. It would be, how would that even be possible? Unless he came down. To me, that's a little weird.
Kasal, the chief of the oath which he showed to the set apart ones when he dwelt high above in esteem. And its name is
Baka.
Bika.
Yeah. I forget if there's an I in paleo or not. I always forget when I'm trying to pronounce these the correct way.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is it says that one requested Mikael. So I guess these guys were good at one point.
To show him the hidden name, that he might enunciate it in the oath.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, these are guys that fell that even wanted to know Yahuwah's name. That's crazy. I think it actually says the name of the son of Adam was revealed to them later on in the chapter. So you have the son of the father and the son, and the name of the father and the name of the son. This chapter being referenced.
Wow, interesting. Okay. And after this judgment, they shall terrify and make them to tremble, because they have shown this to those who dwell on the earth. And behold, the names of those Malachim, and these are their names. The first of them is Samyaza. The second.
Hold on. Next chapter. It's the next chapter. I just read that chapter. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah, some versions of Enoch have like chapters off. Sometimes it could be the one after. Sometimes it's either a chapter ahead or a chapter behind.
Mhm.
The final translation of Enoch. And it came to pass after this, that his name during his lifetime was raised aloft to that Son of Man, and to the Master of Spirits. What do you say for Lord?
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah. And to Yahuwah of Spirits from amongst those who dwell on the earth. And he was raised aloft on the chariots of the Spirit, and his name vanished among them. And from that day I was no longer numbered amongst them. And he set me between the two winds, between the north and the west, where the Malachim took the cords to measure for me the place for the elect and righteous. And there I saw the first fathers and the righteous, who from the beginning dwell in that place. Do you want me to go a little further? Keep going? Or did you want to stop and talk about
No,
this? Or?
let's just talk about it.
Yeah. So I noticed that it says in my version that his name was raised to, let's see, it says his name during his lifetime was raised above to the son of Adam and to Yahuwah of heaven's armies from amongst those who dwell on the earth. So it kind of sounds like that if this is referring to Enoch, it's saying that his name was raised almost to be equal to the name of the son of Adam, which is really weird. I don't know, that's kind of weird. I wonder what that means. Like, I guess was he I don't even know how to understand that verse. That is it saying that his name
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that is very weird. Yeah, anyone that wants to comment on that, feel free. I'm a little confused by that verse. I ain't gonna lie, I promised myself before reading this, even the first time I read this book, if anything contradicts, the Brit or the Tanakh, to throw it out, to ignore it. That's my foundation anyway, is the Tanakh and the Brit. So if anything directly violates what is, I can't see how Enoch's name could be as important or as equal with the son of Yahuwah. I don't know, that's a little weird. To me, if that's what it's really saying, that's a little weird.
Yes, it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be vigilant with this stuff and have discernment.
And then LXX1, let's see, what is that? 71, chapter 71.
Yep.
2 earlier visions of Enoch. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. And I saw the Kadosh One sons of Elohim. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment, and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinth. And I fell on my face before the Master of Spirits, And the Malachim, Michael, how do you say that one? How are you guys pronouncing that one? I'm not saying Michael. Michael or
Mikael.
Mikael? Mikael. Okay. One of the Malachim seized me by my right hand and lifted me up and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars, and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the Kadosh ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its four sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubic, and ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his splendor. And I saw Malachim who could not be counted, 1,000, 1,000,000, and 10,000 times 10,000 encircling that house. And Michael and Raphael and Gabriel and Phanuel and the Kadosh Malachim who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, and many Kadosh Malachim without number, and with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured, and I cried with a loud voice, with the spirit of power, and brocked and splendorized and extolled. And these barakings which went forth out of my mouth were well pleasing before the head of days. And that head of days came with Michael and Gabriel, Raphael, and Phanuel, thousands and 10,000s of Malachim without number. Lost passage wherein the Son of Man was described as accompanying the head of days, and Enoch asked one of the Malachim, as in XLVI, concerning the Son of Man, as to who he was. And he, i.e. the Malachim, came to me and greeted me with his voice, and said unto me, This is the Son of Man, who is born unto righteousness, and righteousness abides over him, and the righteousness of the head of days forsakes him not. And he said unto me, He proclaims unto thee peace in the name of the world to come, for from hence has proceeded peace since the creation of the world. And so shall it be unto thee forever and forever and ever. And he shall walk in his ways, since righteousness never forsaketh him. With him will be their dwelling places, and with him their heritage, and they shall not be separated from him forever, forever and ever and ever. And so there shall be length of days with that Son of Man. And the righteous shall have peace and an upright way, in the name of the Master of spirits, forever and ever. Wow. You guys want to discuss this chapter?
Yeah, I think I'm getting low blood sugar.
Uh-oh.
Well, I don't know. He hasn't alerted me, but
We'll ask him.
I think I need to.
Yes.
All right.
Well, let me know. Am I low? Am I low?
He's not gonna tell you.
Come on, Don.
He's like, "What are you doing? You're huffing on me."
I'm giving my breath.
Oh.
Have you forgot? You need to let me know. Because I feel weird. Probably, yeah.
So I saw a lot in this.
Oh, there it was. There it was. Well, thank you. Thank you. I gotta get him a treat. He alerted.
Good.
I think he forgets what he's doing, but he did alert. I gotta find something to bring it up.
So I kind of got a similar, basically similar comparison with this chapter in Revelations, where John is taken in the spirit to see heaven, to see who is throned, and I kind of got the same type of thing here, where it's talking about the head of days, which actually the only place in the canon you can find that is the book of Daniel, where it says, I saw the Son of Man, someone that looks like the Son of Man, and he came to the head of days. So you have a very, very, very similar comparison to this chapter in Enoch, where it's talking about the head of days, and it's talking about the Malachim worshiping him. And then this Malachim is telling him about the son of Adam, because he's asking him, who is this? And he says, in verse 14, he says, and he came to me and greeted me with his voice and said unto me, this is the son of Adam who is born unto righteousness. So it's almost like the Malach is saying to him that the head of days is the son of Adam.
The Son of Man is the son of Adam.
Yeah, like the it's almost like I think this is it Gabriel speaking here, or Michael, where he says to him in verse 14, and he came unto me and greeted me with his voice and said unto me, this is the son of Adam who is born into righteousness. I think that's Michael or Gabriel saying that. And just before that, it's talking about the head of days. So I wonder if the Malach is actually trying to tell him that the head of days is the son of Adam.
Maybe so. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Because to me, that would be really interesting if that's what he's saying.
Yes. Yes, it would.
And that's pretty much what I got from this chapter. And pretty much I got just a comparison with Revelations and the throne of Yahuwah and all that. And that's pretty much it. Let's see, it talks about that he will proclaim peace in the name of the world to come. So I guess that's referring to the new heaven and new earth in verse 15. And from here has proceeded peace since the creation of the world. So it kind of sounds like this is definitely talking about the new heaven and new earth. And that's kind of where it ends.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it does sound like to me also. Should we wait for Sue to come back? I could go ahead and read the next one.
What we should do right now is pause the recording.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. I had the pausing recorded just for a minute or two. Something I wanted the audience to know is my personal belief why Yahushua is called the Son of Man or the Son of Adam is because in the Brit Hadashah, it's actually referenced that the first Adam, meaning the person Adam, brought sin into the world, but the last Adam, referring to the Son of Man, Yahushua, would be the one to bring sin out of the world. And so it is a prophetic title for him that he would be the one to cleanse us of our transgressions, and that he's bringing our trespasses and our transgressions out of the world. So just wanted to have that on the recording. Let's see here. So I guess I'll read 72, which is titled in my Hallelujah Scriptures version of Enoch Astronomy. Huh, interesting. The book,
Oh, wow.
yep, the book of the courses of the lights of the heavens, the relations of each, according to their classes, their dominion and their seasons. So again, that's referencing to Genesis, appointed times, seasons, Moedim, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the set apart Malachim, Malak, who was with me, who is their guide, showed me, and he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world and unto everlasting, till the new creation is accomplished, which endures till everlasting. And this is the first law of the lights. The light, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the Shamayim. And so the sun rises on the east. And it's going down in the western portals of the Shamayim, the heavens. And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises and 6 portals in which the sun goes down. 12. Interesting. And the moon rises and goes down in these portals, and the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. Also many windows to the right and left of these portals. And first there goes forth the great light named the sun. So actually Enoch tells you sun is the great light of Genesis. Interesting.
Yeah.
And its circumference is like the circumference of the heavens, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heavens and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to that portal and shines in the face of the heavens. In this way he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the 4th. And in that 4th portal from which the sun rises in the first month are 12 window openings, from which proceed a flame when they are opened in their season. When the sun rises in the Shamayim, the heavens, he comes forth through that 4th portal 30 mornings in succession. It goes down exactly in the 4th portal in the west of the heavens. And during this period, the day becomes daily longer and the night nightly shorter to the 30th morning. So that's kind of like similar to daylight savings time. Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we're going through at this time of the year.
On that day, the day is longer than the night by a ninth part, and the day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. Oh boy, I'm not good with math. And the sun rises from that fourth portal and goes down in the fourth and returns to the fifth portal of the east 30 mornings, and rises from it and goes down in the fifth portal. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts, and it returns to the east and enters into the sixth portal and rises and goes down in the sixth portal 31 mornings on account of its sign. On that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night, and the day becomes 12 parts, and the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns to the east and enters into the sixth portal, and rises from it and goes down 30 mornings. And when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part and becomes 11 parts, and the night 7. And the sun goes forth from that sixth portal in the west, and goes to the east and rises in the fifth portal for 30 mornings, and goes down in the west again in the fifth western portal. On that day, the day decreases by 2 parts and amounts to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. The sun goes forth from that fifth portal and goes down in the fourth portal, or 31 mornings on account of its sign, and goes down in the west. On that day, the day is equalized with the night, and the night amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. And the sun rises from that portal and goes down in the west, and returns to the east, and rises 30 mornings in the third portal, and goes down in the west in the third portal. And on that day, the night becomes longer than the day, the night becomes longer than night. That's weird. And day shorter till the 30th morning, and the night account amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the day to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that third portal and goes down in the third portal in the west and returns to the east, and for 30 mornings rises in the second portal in the east, in the same way goes down in the second portal in the west of the heavens. And on that day, the night amounts to 11 parts, and the day to 7 parts. And the sun rises on that day from the second portal and goes down in the west in the second portal and returns to the east in the first portal for 31 mornings, down in the first portal in the west of the heavens. And on that day, night becomes longer and amounts to the double of the day, and the night amounts exactly to 12 parts, and the day to 6. And the sun has traversed the divisions of its orbit and turns again on those divisions of its orbit, and it enters that portal 30 mornings and goes down also in the west opposite to it. And on that night, the night has decreased in the length by a 9th part, and the night has become 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. And the sun has returned and entered into the second portal in the east, and returns on those its divisions of its orbit for 30 mornings, rising and going down. And on that day, the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts, and the day to 8. And on that day, the sun rises from that portal and goes down in the west and returns to the east and rises in the third portal for 31 mornings, goes down in the west of the heavens. On that day, the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. And the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as to its days, 364. And the length of the day and of the night, and the shortness of the day and of the night arise. Through the course of the sun they are separated. So it becomes that its course becomes daily longer, and its course nightly longer. And this is the law in the course of the sun, and its return as often as he returns 60 times and rises. The great light which is named the sun, how forever and ever, And that which rises is the great light, and is so named according to its appearance, according as Yahuwah commanded. As he rises, so he goes down, and does not decrease, and does not rest, but runs day and night. And its light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon, but as regards size, they are both equal. Okay. So that is the end of chapter 72.
I'd actually like to see a movie that was accurate that could show us what all of this is talking about.
Yeah, it's extremely weird, and my mom says hello.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Yes.
good. I just got home, so I'm pretty weary, but okay. I didn't think there was any way I was going to make it through this work day, and he never ceases to amaze me. So
Some days are like that. You're not sure how you're going to make it, but you do.
yeah. Take
Well,
care.
now you can rest. You too. Get some rest.
Yep, you're famous now, Mom. You're on YouTube.
Okay.
All right. So what I wanted, I agree with Sally. It would be cool to see that the portals, the showing how we get the concept of daylight savings time. And I think that's where they get it from, to be honest, because it talks about the certain portals in the certain part of the heavens that if it rises at a certain point, you get a longer day. If it sets at a certain point, it's a longer night, and so on and so forth. And what I found interesting too that disproves that the moon needs the sun for its light is the fact that they're both the same size, meaning that if the sun covered the moon, you wouldn't get an eclipse. How we see a lunar eclipse or whatever, and how you have like a dark shadow. If you wouldn't get that if the sun and moon are same size, and that's what it's saying. It's saying that they're equal in size. So I think that disproves the sun covering the moon, getting an eclipse. And there's obviously, I think the portals have a lot to do with eclipses and stuff like that. I think that makes a lot more sense in my opinion than sun
I
covering.
think you're probably right. Yes.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. It verbatim tells you what the great light is of Genesis, and I like that. I like how it has that that kind of like a cross reference. It says the greater light is called the sun. So you get to know like what Yahuwah is talking about in the creation account when it says he made two lights, two great lights, one greater and one lesser. And this chapter of Enoch's actually telling you which one is the greater light. And so that was pretty interesting to me. And the usage of numbers is pretty interesting. That there's 12 total parts, and it's broken in half. You got 6 parts for the day, 6 parts for the night. So I don't know. That was pretty interesting to me. The usage of the number 12, and how
Right.
how it says the sun is 7 times brighter than the moon. Like, I'm not big into numerology, but when I see stuff like that being used, like the number 7 and number 12, it's not a coincidence, because Yahusha had 12 disciples, 12 tribes of Yashrael. I mean, Yahuwah uses certain numbers for symbolic reasons. He definitely does. I've always believed the number 7 is the number of Yahuwah, the number of completion. That's why he uses that number so much. And
Right.
I don't know
And
what 12 means. 12 definitely is symbolic for something. I just don't know what. It's for something.
I don't know. But it is symbolic. We've got 12 months and
Yeah, 12 months. Oh, another thing too, it tells you that there's supposed to be 364 days in a year.
isn't that interesting?
So technically we're off by 1 day every year. And who knows how much that adds up at this point. That's like about
Right.
like what, like 6,000 days off? Like,
Something like that. That's a lot of days. Do the math on that and find out how many years off that makes it.
that's a lot. There's 6,000
Yeah, it
days.
is.
That's there. If there's 364 days in a year, being 6,000 days off, that's a lot.
Sure is. And that number 7 is interesting. When I was growing up, my mother, who was not religious, and you know, not very religious, hardly at all, and she would say, well, so she did not, you know, that his name was Yah, but she would say that's Yah's favorite number, or you know, God's favorite number, number 7, the number 7. So that's my favorite number. She would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's his Sabbath. That's the seventh day of the week. I mean, it's all over Scripture that there's certain numbers Yahuwah uses for symbolic, metaphoric meanings, like 40. He uses 40 for Yahusha, Noah. I mean, so it's all. So I think there's a difference between symbolic, using numbers for a symbolic meaning, than numerology. Numerology is like the worship of numbers, or using numbers to get mystical meanings. But like the Yahuwah does use numbers though in his word to kind of draw connections between certain things. Like he'll repeat the same number like a bunch of times, and just to give you, like, you know, some type of meaning behind it. Like there's usually something symbolic when he uses certain numbers. Like six is the number of man. That's why when you see King Solomon have, like, you know, he had 666 pounds of gold being delivered to him. That's supposed to symbolize, you know, the kingdom of man, the number of man. So it's Yahuwah definitely uses certain numbers as metaphors, as ways to kind of point us to something in the verse, and kind of be like, wow, maybe there's something more to this verse. I don't know. That's what I've found out through my studies, is like he definitely repeats numbers for a reason.
Yes, that's an interesting take on it.
Yeah, and just to clarify for the audience, I do not condone Bible codes. Just putting it out there. You can check that out. Bible codes exposed right on YouTube. So anyway, that's pretty much what I got from this chapter, was the portals and stuff like that, and it was very confusing, the math. I'm not even going to try to calculate the numbers that it was talking about. The 6th part, the 11th part, the 12th part of the day. I'm like, yeah, that's, I don't know what that's really referring to. Whether it's referring to a certain hour of the day, I have no clue.
I don't know either.
So that's that. If anyone's got anything to help me out on that one, I'm kind of lost when it comes to math and stuff, and all of what it was talking about with the 11th part of the day, the 12th part of the day, the 10th part of the day, the 9th part of the day. That definitely had me confused. Like, if it wasn't for certain Bible translations, I wouldn't even know what the 9th hour is. I'll be honest. If it wasn't for modern translations like the New Heart English Bible telling you like what time of the day the 9th hour is, I probably wouldn't have known what time Yahusha was impaled. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
I'm
I
bad
wouldn't
with
have
that
either.
stuff. Yeah, I think it was like,
No.
I think one translation said like 3, 4 p.m. Actually, literally translated it as like 3, 4 p.m.
Yeah, right.
So that's the only reason I knew was because of that.
Yeah, that's ninth hour, 2 p.m., right?
Oh, 2 p.m.? Okay. I might have
3.
not remembered. Oh, it was 3 p.m.? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, I think it was 3 p.m.
All right. So I don't know if anyone wants to read the next chapter. I think we still got time probably for like one more chapter.
We're going to have to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you know what? We can take a rain check on that. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Well, we just want to thank you all for joining us for this study. Next time we'll try to do a little bit more reading for you guys, but hopefully you got something from the past 3 chapters we just read. And thank you for joining us tonight. And have a great rest of your Shabbat. So that was Book of Hanach, chapters, let's see here, was 69 to 72. I'm Brother Doug. This is my sister Shoshana, my sister Sally, our brother Dennis, and our brother Daoud. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.